so that over the period, they can no longer refine 100% install capacity, because the efficiency is declining.
So what percentage are we running now in terms of
I can't say exactly, but where we want to even go with the people who really manufacture these refineries, just to take us up to 90, because they say that that's the maximum they can go. So as at now, sometimes they produce at 50, 60. In fact, Port Harcourt was shut down because at the time it was producing about 30%. Though that was not necessarily because of the efficiency of the refinery, but also because of the vandalization of the pipeline bringing crude oil into the refinery. So the refinery was not getting maximum volume of crude oil it's supposed to get. So it was no longer profitable. So they shut it down. But they produce between 50, I believe between 50 and 70, I cannot say exactly. But maybe if you ask GMD and NPC, unfortunately it's not yet, they will tell you. But definitely we are not up to 80. It's lower than that.
Okay.
That's why they want to take it at least up to 90%.
Okay. I'll let Shaif Hasiba take the next question.
Mr. President, I just want to bring your mind back to what we have now. Even with the subsidy regime, there is a social imbalance in the country today. We have unemployment, we have youth, leading to youth unrest and a lot of demands and things like that. And you've been so convinced that, yes, there are benefits coming from the subsidy removal. Selling the proposal to Nigeria, you'll be so confident about it. Perhaps Nigeria also need to know what is the time lag? When will this benefit begin to answer? I mean, perhaps if you give us a time, perhaps Nigeria may be relaxed to want to see, you know, the benefits and begin to consider your proposal on the software subsidy removal.
The benefits will start from the time we start the deregulation. The other thing is that one thing is the benefit to manifest very clearly. It's just like probably if you are sick, you have some plasmodium in your system and you're suffering from malaria. If you take injection, and even that drug kill all the plasmodium, you still feel sick for some time. It takes you some hours, some days before you will really regain. From the one that will start the regulation, government will have a breathing space. The benefit will start coming in, companies will start coming in. But even the companies that will come in will not start employment almost immediately. And even as we are discussing about this regulation, we know what is happening globally. People are interested in coming to invest. Government will have a little breathing space, even to taking more projects. Some of the special projects that we're even bringing up in terms of the SHOP program will also take up. So before we get to the middle of 2012, people will now know that, yes, there is a gain in deregulation. The younger people, yes, at the beginning there is a lot of misinformation. The impression is that, this government wants to remove subsidy from petroleum. This is the only thing Nigerians are enjoying. And if that is removed, there will be so much of suffering. The prices of things will increase and so on. If you really do proper analysis, ordinarily prices would have increased marginally. But people will abuse it, no doubt about that. We are a very large country, 167 million people, very diverse. So no matter how you try to police, people will exploit it. So at the beginning, yes, there will be some increase in prices, but it will not last long. Because of course, diesel that is used to carry most of our heavy loads and fruits and so on, that lorries carry from north to south. You don't use small cars to carry fruits and yam from north to south. You use lorries, use trailers, use tippers. These vehicles use diesel that has been deregulated over 6 years ago during the Obasanjo's time. I think that it was 2004 or so. That diesel was completely deregulated. So there is no increase in price of diesel. Not to talk about aviation fuel, supposed not to affect airlines. Because aviation kerosene has been deregulated. The only thing we are talking about is PMS and kerosene. And PMS that is used for smaller cars. I'm not saying people don't enter smaller cars or smaller vehicles are not used to carry load. Yes, some reasonable volume of load you use smaller cars to carry. So ordinarily, even the increase in price that people are talking about shouldn't have been so significant. But government is also intervening. Because of that, government is working with labor, and especially the road transport group, to see how more of diesel buses, bigger buses, will be brought in. So instead of smaller buses that will be carrying 18 people, and so many of them crowding the road. You need these 50-seater, 30-seater buses that will carry more people, which, of course, use diesel. So ordinarily, if we want to be kind to ourselves, if we are not running a pure capitalist system where people exploit any weakness in the system, the price increase in prices would have been extremely marginal. Even today, I had a discussion with the CBN governor. From analysis, economic analysis, ordinarily, price is supposed not to go up too high. Yes, there will be marginal increase in terms of vehicles that use PMS. But if you are using a diesel vehicle, no 1 kobo will be added to your cost of running your vehicle.
So, Your Excellency, let me ask then, you want to go on with a follow-on to that? Because I was just going to follow on and ask Mr. President that if you say that the price of diesel has not increased as a result of removal of subsidy from it, there are those people who are saying that there's really no subsidy, whether it's kerosene or diesel or petrol. If the change is not being obvious to them, then I guess they might look at it and say, actually, there's still no subsidy if the change is not that obvious, Your Excellency.
If somebody says there's no subsidy, then that person may need to bother about the issue of deregulation. I mean, it's contradictory. On one hand, you say there's no subsidy. Yeah. And on the other hand, you say, no, government should not deregulate. And really, our emphasis is more of deregulation than the issue of subsidy. Because when you talk about subsidy alone, sometimes people say, look, Mr. President, why not just 6 months at 5 naira, another 6 months at 5 naira, another 6 months at 5 naira, so that Nigerians will just get used to it gradually. And that is deregulation. And from all the countries we know that try to do this marginal increase, it has never changed the economics of the country. For you to attract the private sector to come in robustly to invest, that's one of the areas we say that we must do it. Otherwise, our children will be going to Cameroon, will be going to Niger, will be going to Benin, will be going to Chad to buy petroleum products. We have been producing crude oil since 1956. That we started first export in 1958. Most of these countries just started producing yesterday. And we have a pride also as a nation. You have to go to them to buy your petroleum needs. To be disastrous. So we want to encourage Nigerians to invest in the downstream. In that case, this marginal increase they are talking about will not help. You have to deregulate completely.
Okay.
When you deregulate completely, people will not just be refineries just for the purpose of supplying us our domestic need. People will be refineries and export petroleum products to other countries. In fact, at a time, some time ago, OPEC even advised member nations, especially developing countries like Nigeria, that why do we have to export crude oil? If we cannot add value to agri-produce, why can't we add value to our crude oil to make more money and create jobs for our own people and export the products to other countries?
Okay.
Why do we create jobs for them? Because at any time, a drop of crude oil produced by Nigeria is being refined outside Nigeria. You are creating job for somebody's son or daughter, and you are not creating for your own. For every barrel of crude oil you refine outside Nigeria, somebody will come with the option, oh, why not go to other countries and refine and bring it? For every barrel of crude oil you refine outside, you take your crude oil, go outside, you add value to it. The process of adding value to your crude oil, create jobs and improve the spending, create wealth for others, create job for others, create wealth for others. What are you doing? Okay. And you have no, you see, you must prepare for our children. And until all of us, being presidents, being governors, being local chairmen, being fathers, being mothers, all of us agree that as a nation, we must look in-house. Other countries have done it. Chinese lock up their gates and say they must plan for their children and grandchildren. By the time they open up, they are now leading the world. Until we Nigerians agree that, look, we must plan for our children and grandchildren, and we must do what is right. Even if there are minor things, we must do it. Our children will become slaves.